him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Come on, God, it's time for the only news that matters. And today, I'm making the Iron Maiden Friday. So up the irons with this Iron Maiden only news that matters report. When Iron Maiden started out, they were a different beast than the ones they eventually became. Through bassist and founder Steve Harris cringes at the mere mention of it, the band had the spirit and energy reflecting in the punk movement. An original singer, Paul Dianno, had a gruffier working class spirit, more so than most Robert Plant imitators of the day. Dianno's style was crucial to Iron Maiden's initial sound and style, but his tenure wouldn't last long. The band was formed in 1975 and Dianno joined the band 3 years later. Their self-titled debut was issued in 1980, with the classic Killers following the next year in September of '81. Dianno was booted from the group, and former Samson singer Bruce Dickinson was brought in. And as the story goes, Dianno was ushered out because his vocal abilities weren't up to par with how Harris thought the band should sound. There are also rumors of drug abuse, but Dianno remembers it differently. He said, "I left Iron Maiden because they were just getting too metal, and Iron Maiden is about a money-making machine, and I don't give a fuck about it." He told in an interview in 2013 that it was not about drugs. It was nothing like that. Though, Dianno quickly added, "But you did need to take drugs when you're in Iron Maiden because they're so fucking boring." And the only drugs were aspirin because Steve had a fucking headache. When discussing the band's first recordings with Metal Thunder Radio, Dianno noted that Harris's had most of the words and the lyrics all written. And that was some of the bones of contention that we had in the band, that I didn't get to write as much as I wanted to. Because I'm actually quite a prolific writer, but a lot of my songs were not accepted because it's Steve's band, obviously. I'm telling you, Iron Maiden is Steve Harris. And all of its money, that's all it's about, and nothing else counts. In a 1981 interview, Harris was far more diplomatic about the situation. He said, "The first two albums were songs that were written over the 4-year period before we were signed. I think it probably more down to the songs than Paul's voice, really. I thought Paul had a really good voice, but there's no way we could have carried on with Paul because he didn't want to do touring and all that anyway. So we had to make a change. If we didn't make a change, I think maybe the band would have split up or something. I don't think that Maiden would still be here if we had stayed with Paul." Dianno made his last appearance with Iron Maiden on September 10th, 1981, along with the official announcement of his departure and the arrival of new singer Dickinson. Dianno said, "I'm a punk musician, a punk singer, but I can do heavy metal better than most heavy metal singers." Well, there you go. And you know what? I agree with him. I love Dianno's voice. It was awesome. Those two albums with Maiden were just flawless, in my opinion. I loved every single song they did, and even the B-side stuff. And I will rank all songs before this episode's over. But yeah, it was a bummer. I believe Paul, maybe it wasn't drugs, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with the direction Steve wanted to go in. In that direction, I don't think Paul would have worked. Though, I think his voice would have been awesome on Hallowed Be Thy Name. When I listen to that song, I can totally hear like Paul Sing It and Paul Sing It better. Not a slight on Bruce Dickinson. I love Bruce Dickinson, and his voice was top notch on the Number of the Beast. I mean, his voice was amazing. Listen to Beast Over Hammersmith. To me, that's Bruce Dickinson's greatest vocal performance. You know, that album and also that tour. I think that tour kind of tore up his voice, because even by Peace of Mind, if you look at the early years DVD, I hear him straining already. I hear, you know, what's, you know, gonna happen to his voice, and then it was total shit on Live After Death. But I know many of you out there love that album, and that's cool and all. And, you know, when Number of the Beast came out, I remember automatically, the first time I heard it, I was like, wow. I mean, other than the couple songs, I didn't like Gangland or Invaders, but the rest of it, I was like, wow, this shit's awesome. But even then, I did not think this is better than the first two albums. I already thought, man, Iron Maiden's best two albums. And I thought that till today, you know? And I was on board with Number of the Beast. Peace of Mind, I love that album. I went to go see him live on that tour for the first time. Loved the hell out of Power Slave, probably my favorite with Dickinson. But then after that, it became spotty for me, you know? And also, it was that time when all my bands I grew up loving, like Ozzy and Judas Priest, were releasing albums like Ultimate Sin and Turbo that I was not into, and I wasn't into Caught Somewhere in Time, especially when it was released. But then later on, like today, looking back on that album, I like about half of it. I think I love Wasted Years. I've always loved that song. I love The Loneliness of the Distant Runner. I love Deja Vu, and I love Alexander the Great. All right, there's 4 songs I love off that album. But, you know, I mean, a lot of people love the Dickinson stuff, and, you know, who knows? I know many people think that, well, Iron Maiden would have never been big with Dianno. They needed Dickinson to be big. That may be true, but also that may not be true. I think with Dianno, they were really gaining a lot of speed here in the States. In Europe, they were huge. But here, you know, they were getting, you know, traction. I remember hearing Ratchild on the radio. I mean, they were opening for Priest, and they were gradually building a following that it was also possible that if Iron Maiden would have stayed on that track they did on those first 2 albums, keeping it raw, pissed off, a lot of fire, it might have worked, I think. And, you know, everybody praises Steve Harris. Oh, he's the greatest bass player. Hey, let me tell you something. He is a monster bass player. But I don't think Steve Harris has done such amazing work on the bass like he did on the first 2 albums. The first 2 albums, he's all over that fretboard and he's making it work. Then later on, it became more like a, you know, a little technical thing here and there, you know, but nothing as fiery as the first 2 albums. The first 2 albums was like, it was just pissed off. It was really angry. I equate it with Black Sabbath with Ozzy Osbourne, with Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio. That's how I equate it, because with Black Sabbath with Ozzy, it was organic, it was pissed, it was cutthroat. With Dio, it became perfection and epic, and that's what happened with Maiden. Maiden became perfection, you know, with Dickinson. Their music was a little more stripped down, a little more accessible than it was with Dianno. Now, a lot of people say, well, Dianno hasn't done jack crap since after Maiden. Well, I disagree. I really liked the Battlezone stuff. I hated his first solo album. That was terrible. But, you know, the Killer stuff and, what was that other band? That one band he released with Pete Willis, Janet Gears, Gog Magog, that wasn't too good. But Killers was cool, no bad. But, you know, I got to tell you, my favorite thing Paul Dianno has done since Iron Maiden is this band called Architect of Chaos. Check that album out. They only made 1 album back in 2015. And I think it's freaking amazing. All right, now I'm going to rank the Iron Maiden songs with Paul Dianno, and there's 24 in all. And let's do it. All right, number 24. And by the way, I love all these songs. 24, Burning Ambition. It was a B-side. Kind of different for them, a little melodic and stuff. But I dug it. 24. At 23, Women in Uniform, which I know is also, it was a single and it was a cover. And yeah, it's all right. And 22, another cover, I've Got the Fire, which is a Montrose cover. A live version that was a B-side. At 21, Another Life of Killers. I love the hell out of that song. Just, man, Clive Burr. At 20, Ides of March. Love it. 19, the song Iron Maiden, which they play every single show, even up to today. At number 18, Drifter. Pissed Off Killer ending to Killer. 17, Strange World. Love the hell out of that song. Good mellow Killer vibe. Number 16, Invasion, which was a B-side, but it's also on the Soundhouse tapes, which, by the way, I own the original Soundhouse tapes. I believe it's the most expensive thing I own. But yeah, Invasion. At number 15, I know a lot of people will probably have this higher, but I still love it. Running Free. Love Running Free at 15. At 14, Genghis Khan. Man, listen to Clive Burr on that instrumental. It's insane how amazing that man was. At number 13, Twilight Zone, which was a B-side over there in Europe, but they did add it over here, kind of like what they did with my number 12, Sanctuary, which was not on the album in Europe, but it was over here. Love it. At number 11, the killer instrumental Transylvania, Smokes. At number 10, Innocent Exile. Absolutely love it. Killer song. Yeah, we're at the top 10. At number 9, should be higher, but I like 8 songs more. Prowler. The song that, man, the first Maiden song I heard, blew my mind. Still love it like crazy. At number 8, Charlotte the Harlot, one of the greatest Paul Dianno vocals with that mellow part. You know, when I saw you standing there. Love it. I'll take that over Bruce any day. All right, what's next after that? Charlotte the Harlot. Number 7, Murders in the Rue Morgue. Ooh, what a ripping tune that is. Absolutely love that one. And number 6, the title track, Killers, with my all-time favorite Iron Man guitar solo from Dave Murray. Ripping on Killers, man. Number 5, Rothschild. I'll never forget the first, I already knew Iron Maiden. I owned the first album. I was in my friend's treehouse. He had this treehouse back then with electricity and stuff. It was crazy. Big ass cord leading to the house. Anyway, we got drunk and stuff. We're up there and he's playing the radio and the radio played Rothschild. I was like, whoa, a new Iron Maiden. Love the hell out of that song. All right, number 4, Phantom of the Opera. What a ripping, epic masterpiece. Definitely awesome. And number 3, my favorite song off the first album, Remember Tomorrow. Oh, can't get enough of that one. All right, number 2. Actually, number 2 and 1 are pretty much tied, but today, you know, I'm going to put one at 2 and the other one at 1, but really, you know, tied. And number 2, Prodigal Son. There's no Iron Maiden song like it. It's proggy, it's beautiful, the musicianship is top notch. Love it at number 2. And my number 1 favorite Iron Maiden song with Paul Dianno and Clive Burr is Purgatory. Most ripping heavy metal cutthroat song Iron Maiden has ever released. What do you all think out there? Yeah, I know there's a lot of Bruce fans and there's a lot of Paul fans and there's a lot of Paul fans that hate Bruce Dickinson so much, and I don't. But there's a lot of stuff I don't like with Maiden and Dickinson. I love every single song, which you just heard from Paul Dianno. Leave it in the comments below. And thank you for watching The Only News That Matters. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Ring that little notification bell. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath. Up the irons. and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.